I remember, man, I was a little girl and my dad would talk about out west and I would just listen to him and I had stars in my eyes. And I always promised myself that one day I would get there. You ready? What got me really hooked into mountain biking is just you're so aware in that moment. You're so present. You can't think of anything else. When I'm on the bike, it's positive every time I get out. The first time I went mountain biking, there was no question for me. I'm like, this is part of me now.
Steph is probably like the friendliest person I think I've ever known. She's just so stoked to get women riding. Like, I don't think I've ever met anyone like Steph. Like, she's pretty much the only reason I have any friends.
Oh, I'm a strong believer that is so important to get more women into riding and action sport in general. When I moved to Rawson, I was really missing riding with other women. So I started the Mud Bunnies Rawson Club. When I see another woman doing a feature, I could relate. I'm like, oh, maybe I can do it too. And hopefully I can do the same for more women going forward as well.
Even if you're not advanced, you can still join them, which is great. They're very supportive. It's a great way to tackle the trails and meet interesting ladies like Stephanie. It's such a blessing, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for her.
Nice. Nice. Right here. So not even a year into mountain biking, I start realizing that my level of energy wasn't as good as usual. And then very rapidly, my health degraded. And I didn't want to go to the hospital, but I got told, Steph, I'm taking you to the hospital because I couldn't walk anymore.
So Crohn's disease is one of the inflammatory bowel diseases, and it's an inflammatory condition that can affect anywhere in the GI tract from top to bottom. Some people will have fewer and less severe flare-ups, but Steph's have been on the more severe side. People, if they're going through flares, they'll have multiple trips to the bathroom 10, 20 times a day. If there's a lot of inflammation over a long time, people sometimes end up having to have portions of the gut removed surgically. The liver can also get inflamed, so a lot of more abdominal pain and bloating. And then generally people just feel unwell, tired, low energy.
It happened so quickly. I remember being at the hospital bed, full of morphine, foggy head, and then the doctors are lining up and announcing me that I have a lifelong autoimmune, it's chronic, and there's no cure for it. I can't explain the shock that it did to me. The first hospitalization was 5 days. I was so weak. I lost 10, 15 pounds, and I was skin and bones. And then when I went back home, it took a couple of weeks with the cane. And I remember after maybe a month in, my goal was to walk to the corner of the street, which is 3 houses, and come back. That was the goal of the day. So this is a passage of my second biggest flare-up. I have a tendency to have flare-up after a cold or a flu. Well, I had bloody stool for a week. I keep going to work. I pushed. I was a zombie. I was in pain. I was wobbling in the shops. My leg would hurt, and the pain would shoot all the way to my head and my eyes. Deep breathing, but in vain. Stomach pain, 10 out of 10. Leg pain, 10 out of 10. Bum pain, 10 out of 10. Morphine is right now my best friend.
I think Steph's somebody who tries very hard to make the most of the time that she is between her flares. When she's not, she's out there on the trails and she's active and healthy and encouraging other people to get out there too. And I think that's very inspiring.
What kept me going is the desire to go back on my bike. I really wanted to keep going with the girls every week. And that was my motivation to eat well and train. I was started to go back to the gym, but really it was just get back to normal so I can go bike with my friends. Yeah. Now I remember where I've been thinking about that for a couple years. It's a big feature. I got this. Nice. It's so nice to do a feature that you've been thinking about for 4 years. It feels so good. Reminds me why I'm hooked on this sport. I realized that riding with other women brought me so much when I needed it. When I started mountain biking, there was not that many of us. I remember going to Whistler and then I would see another girl and I would just smile at her. In the last 10 years, I find that women were wanting a place in the sport. And now when you look at the young girls, they're going faster, they're going bigger. I feel now they're taking their place. And that all started with small movements like we are having or still making it happen.
I've met a lot of dear friends through the Mud Bunnies. Some of them have rode before, some of them haven't, and it doesn't matter because you just meet this wonderful new community of women to connect with. It's just so much fun. So I would 100% encourage any woman to join a women's biking club.
If there's one thing I would like people to remember out of this story is that maybe it's not Crohn's disease, but it could be another condition, and don't be afraid to talk about it. It brought me the realization of what's really important in life, and now it's part of me and I have nothing to hide.